Hey guys, this is John, and I'm playing Ancient in the 15-minute pool on ICC. This player has a rating of 2292, 17 wins, 2 losses in the 15-minute pool. Just trying to see how I want to play against them. They also have a 5-minute rating of 2230, so pretty good player. Let's go e5 in this game. So a little e4, e5 action. His first finger note says, I played Bofinix, Smyslov, Bronstein, Tal, Petrosian, and Spassky in Simals, and also Korchnoi and Karpov. That's a lot of world champions, and near world champions in the case of Bronstein. Okay. So I'm going to go into, well, I was looking forward to playing the black side of Spanish or Roy Lopez, but they're going to play a Scotch instead. Let's take that pawn. Knight takes d4, so bishop c5 is the main move. Also knight f6 too. Actually, let's play knight f6 because this is usually the move that I play. Bishop c5 is a bit more active, but I don't mind playing this line either. I think this line can be a little bit dry. That's the only problem with it. Bishop d3, d5, pawn takes, castle, and castle. These positions can kind of bleed out to equality, but we'll find out. We'll see. Yeah, bishop g5, and now black wants to play c6 and support the pawn on d5. And usually queen f3 is played. So here, h6 I know is like a known equalizing move, but it's pretty dead after bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, g takes f6 in the event of a queen trade. White can double black's pawns, and black just kind of has to deal with that. But you know what? I kind of need practice in positions like that, so I'm going to do it. So yeah, this may not be the most exciting line in the world, but I want to see how successfully I can defend this position. And I say it's dead equality, and this is a known equalizer because a lot of books have referenced this line and say like, yeah, black has the worst pawn structure, but the bishop pair offsets it. Knight e2, so white starts maneuvering the knight. I think bishop back to d6 is a good idea. I could also play rook b8 and maybe try to take this pawn in my sights. But I think moving the bishop back is smart, so let's do that. Ancient is sporting a, is that South African flag? Yep, it is. Nice to get a higher rated opponent in this one. Usually we're not coming up against a lot of 2200 plus opposition. Okay, knight g3, so maybe they're introducing the idea of knight h5, attacking the pawn on f6. Makes sense. I don't really want to take. I don't want to forfeit my bishop pair immediately. Knight h5 is a little pesky, though. Perhaps starting with rook b8 is not bad. Let's just attack this pawn. I'm happy to trade the f6 pawn for the b pawn, so I don't expect white to let me take on b3. Yeah, so they go there. Now maybe the bishop coming back to b4 is not bad. If bishop b4, knight h5, in that case I can play bishop c3 and attack the rook on a1 and also defend f6. Somehow I like the look of that. Could also play bishop e5 directly, but bishop e5 directly, they're going to get the rook over to e1. So let's do this instead. It is nice to take this square under observation. I haven't been playing a lot of e4, e5, I must confess. I played a lot of Scandies recently, but e4, e5 is a line that I've had in my repertoire for a few years, and I used to play it way back when I was a Scholastic player and then kind of moved away from it. But I played it particularly against stronger players, so like over the board, like mainly title players, FMs, IMs, GMs, just because I've found it's pretty reliable. Whenever I played e4 as white, I never was like super thrilled to face e5, just like I'm not super thrilled to face the Sicilian a lot of times. And go figure, those are the two most popular options against e4. And there's a lot of scope for creativity, even within e4, e5. Kind of has a dry reputation, the double king pawn openings, but games can unfold in a lot of different ways from this line. If I were white, I would consider c4 right now. Before my bishop settles on c3, I think it might make sense to play c4 and try to disturb that piece. Okay, so he just plays rook d1. Maybe bishop g4, trying to induce the f3 move. I don't know how much that would really help us. Could be something, though. Maybe just bishop e6 right away, or rook e8. I feel like they might be trying to play bishop f5 and then move the rook up to d3 at some stage, maybe over to f3 even after that. Bishop c3 looks pretty natural. Let's do that move. I want to stop white from playing c4. That's the whole point of playing like this. They might play knight e2, whereupon my bishop has to retreat. But at least then I would force the knight from a more active square. So like if knight e2, maybe then bishop e5. f4, bishop d6, something like that. Okay, bishop f5. I was thinking I could just play bishop a6 on this move. Because at the very least, since the rook is under attack, he has to repeat with bishop to d3. Not very exciting, but that's my line of thinking. Let's just go back and see what he's up to. Trading the bishops would have been cooperative there. Bishop takes d3, rook takes d3. That gets white out of this development jam that they're currently in. He wants to repeat. I don't know if I have a good way of avoiding this repetition. Pretty lame to maybe take a draw like this, but rook e8. They get to go rook d3. I really don't like rook d3. I want to stop that move. Rook e8, rook d3. But bishop a6, they just take c3, and I get the rook, but I have to lose 2 bishops for it. Rook e8. I can also just take on c8. Yeah, that's no good. I'm going to repeat and see what to do after bishop d3. Most likely I'll take the draw, but maybe there's something else.
Draw?
He offers a draw. Could play bishop b7. But that's playing with fire because white gets in knight f5 then. I think if I avoid this repetition, I'm going to be worse. All right, I'm going to take the draw, guys, because I don't really see a good way of proceeding. I hate to agree a quick draw in these games. But those are the breaks sometimes. Yeah, there's just not a whole lot going on in this line. From black's point of view, this is acceptable. I mean, if you get equality as black and your opponent doesn't present a lot of problems in the opening, that's fine. If this player were lower rated, I'd probably try to find a way to unbalance the game, and I would be less likely to play this line with h6. But since I know this to be an acceptable way of equalizing the game for black, I just went for it. So let's go back and have a very brief look. Not much more to be said about this one. Yeah, this is all theory. d5. So I played this position before after f3 with bishop e7. This is another move I played. More combative. Black just defends f6 and removes the positional threat of taking. I think there's some other moves too, like is rook e8 a move? I can't quite recall. But bishop e7 is usually what's played if black wants to fight with more resources on board. But I just played h6. Let's add the engine. Just out of curiosity. I wonder what the engine says is the best move. Yeah, rook b8 is probably also played. I would bet. But h6, white takes, we take back. So in exchange for having doubled up the pawns, I do get the bishop pair, and I've clarified the situation on the king side. Sometimes that queen sitting on f3 is kind of pesky. I mean, for the moment, it's cooperating with the dark square bishop and attacking f6. So It can be a bother just sitting there, but there is some value in inducing this early exchange, although it dries up the position. So knight e2, because white doesn't want to allow me a chance to take, potentially. And here I just drop the bishop back to d6. I bet there's several dozen games from this position you could find if you looked in the database from here. I was sort of out of book at this point. I've played this position once before, but I can't quite remember what I did in that game. So I played bishop to d6. I was wondering about knight d4, if white could come here and attack this pawn. I was assuming that c5 would be good. Knight f5, yeah, okay. And the engine gives white a slight edge here, but this is an opposite color bishop position with same amount of pawns. This is probably just dead equal. Like, yeah, cosmetically, white has a slightly better structure, and I think that's why you're seeing the plus 0.37, but this would be so incredibly difficult to win as white. I don't think white's going to be successful most of the time. Maybe there is even something better than c5. Guess not, because white is threatening the pawn, and if bishop d7, they could still play knight f5, or maybe even this move. Yeah, trying to get a good knight versus bad bishop scenario. This would be a minor piece situation that black would want to try to avoid. So white trading down and having like a knight that's hard to attack versus a lone bishop. Then the pawn weaknesses could be much more appreciable. But if white just ends up with like a light square bishop versus my dark square bishop, it's equal. So they play knight g3. Yeah, maybe that's not best. But knight g3, I played rook b8, just attacking the pawn. And now bishop b4, looking to prevent white from occupying the e-file with the rook. Rook e8 also looks fine. Maybe then if rook here, I could play bishop b4 now. Oh, no, I can't, because this rook is not defended yet. That would be a huge blunder. Rook e5 instead. Okay, just come up the file and offer a trade on this square. Maybe it'd be better to use this rook then, so if rook e5, f4 could be played. But I guess then I could take, and f4 is loose, isn't it? If I take, though, I get checkmated.
Checkmate.
Nice tidy checkmate right there. So in the event of rook e8, rook ae1, probably I'd want to go like rook e5, f4, take, and now like king f8 to cover e8. And I'd still be threatening this pawn. Yeah, this looks fine for black. But as played, I played bishop b4. White played rook ad1. C3, that's not a move I saw. c3, inviting black to take and attack the rook. Idea being that after rook ac1, if the bishop moves, white would win c6. That's clever. And if here, knight e2, and same thing, there's pressure on the bishop, and if the bishop moves, take the pawn. Yeah, I get the sense that bishop b4 is a little bit inaccurate. I think I should have played rook e8 instead. That appears more flexible to me. Bishop b4 worked out fine in the game, but maybe c3 is a good way to punish that move. And the engine says my best bet is just to move back to d6. So yeah, probably safe to say bishop b4 was a mistake. Not a huge one, but a mistake nonetheless. But the fact that this position is still only slightly better for white kind of shows you how difficult it would be for white to get the full point from here. Black has wasted 2 tempos, bishop b4, and then right back to d6, but still white's advantage is nothing to write home about yet. It's still suggesting that knight f5 move, actually, and we'd have the same scenario with opposite color bishops. Black would just have to be careful here. So rook ad1, and then I played bishop c3. Rook e8 is again suggested. I just wasn't thrilled about this move. I thought if I could prevent c4 and white trying to isolate this pawn, then it might be worth it to do so. So here, yep, and bishop f5. And now we had a repetition on our hands. Once again, I really hate to do this. I know no one likes boring draws, but sometimes you just have to take draws in situations like this. I don't really have a good way to deviate. Because bishop b7, my bishop doesn't have a lot of future on this diagonal, first of all. And I'm inviting knight f5, whereupon I could not eliminate this knight. So as you can see, then white's advantage goes way up. And also in the position after bishop f5, I think bishop a6 is by far the best move, because if bishop e6, well, maybe bishop e6 is playable. Maybe I should have given this some thought. Because if white takes it, that would repair my structure a little bit, and at least we're playing on here, and black doesn't have this structural issue to worry about, the double isolated f-pawns. Yeah, maybe bishop e6 is a decent way of continuing. I thought that white would play rook d3 on this move, but bishop e5, yeah, it's still equal, but more exciting than just bishop a6, bishop c8, shake hands. Okay, but like I said, theoretically, this is a good result for black. All right, well, sorry for the couple of quick videos today, but it happens sometimes. Hope you guys enjoyed them nonetheless, and I'll be back again soon with another video. Talk to you guys later. Bye.